Hey guys, Lytane here, and I just saw Beauty and the Beast. No, not the original cartoon made by Disney, the live-action remake that was just released, and I just want to talk about it. So let's dive right into the review. So this movie follows pretty much the same plot as the original, but with a few alterations to the story to fix some of the nagging questions in the original. A conceited prince in France is wasting money collecting trinkets and throwing massive balls for just beautiful people, when an old ugly lady crashes one of his parties and asks if he can shelter her for the night with a rose being his payment. He refuses and is disgusted by her. Little did he know that she is an enchantress and puts a spell on him, making him a hideous beast and all of his staff into various objects and causing the world to forget about him. To break the curse, he must find love in himself and another, and they too have to love him back. Many years pass and Belle is living her poor Provencal life with all of those commoners. She is just too forward thinking for these people, like she reads! A woman! Reading! Sacre bleu! Her dad goes off to sell his clocks in the market but gets lost on the way, ending up at Beast's castle where he is captured and made a prisoner. Belle stops at nothing to get her father out and trades places with him, allowing to be set free, and she is now the captive. She tries to escape but it goes wrong and she is attacked by wolves and Beast saves her. Rather than leave, she tends to his wounds over the coming days and realizes that he isn't as brutish as he comes across. The two become friends and share many common interests like reading, and they start to actually like each other. Maybe there is something there that wasn't there before. It is not all good for Maurice, as the town thinks he is crazy. Gaston, the man who has sworn that he's going to marry Belle only because he can't marry himself, tries to help even though he is a dick. But they can't find the castle, so they leave Maurice for dead. He finds his way back home a few days later and tells the town how monstrous Gaston is, but Gaston spins it, making everyone think that Maurice is crazy. They go to put him in an asylum, but Belle learns about this and tries to put a stop to it. The town then learns that the Beast is real, and they attack the castle. They lose. Gaston loses, and the Beast wins, but he's injured. But it's a good thing that Belle has fallen in love with him, and that is the cure for a gunshot wound. Her love breaks the curse, and everyone lives happily ever after. So one of the good things about the film is that they try and fix up some of those little story parts of the original that a lot of people questioned. Like at the beginning, when the Enchantress goes to Beast's castle, she talks to him and offers him a rose to get shelter. In the original, if you follow it correctly, he would be 11, and he says no to a stranger offering a rose to come inside his house. That's stranger danger. It makes perfect sense that he said no. He's freaking 11. But then she curses him anyway because she's a bitch. We know this because the curse settles in place when he's 21, and Lumiere says it's been 10 years of just being an object, so hence he's 11. But the movie makes out the prince to be a lot older. He's already throwing parties and he's doing all that kind of stuff. So when the curse does hit him, he is not an 11-year-old boy, and it's actually through his dickheadness that he gets cursed. Another one of the little story things they fixed up was the fact that why doesn't the kingdom realize that their prince is missing? Like, it's a monarchy and then he just suddenly disappears for 10 years? No, this one makes up for that and says that the entire town, maybe the world, who knows, it doesn't really say, forgets about the prince and the monarchy and the castle and everything like that. And it does play up a little bit in the film where some people just don't have memories when they should. Another great addition to the film is that they give more backstory to both the Beast and Belle with how they grew up and their family and all that kind of stuff. In the original, Belle has the mom that's like one of those off-screen deaths because Disney is allergic to having two parents. And the Beast's backstory is basically just the Enchantress thing. But in this movie, they go further details into both of their lives in order for you to learn about them and why they've become the people that they are. It is a great addition to this film because it just fleshes out these characters a lot more, and it just adds so much more to them as characters. Belle and Beast aren't the only characters to get a little bit more backstory. Gaston and LeFou get their roles expanded. Gaston in this movie is shown to be more of a dick and even more self-centered than he was in the original cartoon, and I love it. I love every second of it. It's no lie that Gaston is my personal favorite Disney villain out of all the Disney villains that we've ever had, so watching him and seeing more of him on screen was just a joy. He is so much more monstrous, and he does have a more villainous role in this film compared to the original, and I like the addition of that. LeFou as well has been upgraded from just random sidekick to our fully fledged character, where he has his own motivations, his own loves and interests, and surprisingly, he is openly gay in the film. By openly, he's not It's hard to say that he's openly gay, but you definitely understand that he is gay, especially by the end of the film. And in fact, some of the scenes with LeFou got censored in some countries because he was gay, which just boggles my mind that still people are such close-minded. The visual style in this film is great, with Beast looking fantastic, the castle looking fantastic. I like the addition of the characters looking more like the ornaments that they represent. I like the costumes as well because you can see the hints of the old cartoon in their new costumes, but it has been reimagined for a new audience. The humor was good as well, with lots and lots of jokes, some of them poking fun at the original idea as well. Like one of the other plot points that a lot of people ask about is everything in the castle alive? And so Belle picks up a hairbrush and tries to talk to it, saying like, are you a person too? But everybody else is like going, you're an idiot, that's just a hairbrush. And I thought that was a great little joke. There are some cons to this movie as well, and the major one that I'm going to say is that the chemistry between Belle and Beast just isn't as amazing as the cartoon, where more time was spent on their backstories and giving reasons why they're the way they are today. Less time is spent on them actually forming the relationship and moving forward in the film. In the original film, I'm not actually sure how long it takes between, Belle's imprisonment to the end of the film, but it always felt to me like it went on for a couple months, where she just went there at the beginning of winter and then like 2 or 3 months later, it's the end of winter and that's when Gaston attacks. But that's just me, it could actually happen in a lot shorter time. In the remake, it happens over the span of about 2 weeks, and you can follow it along because they say how many days everything happens, so you can get a pretty clear timeline, and it only happens in 2 weeks. This rush of character development makes me feel like they didn't spend enough time with Belle and Beast together. Even the montage for the song Something There That Wasn't There Before, it doesn't have them interacting in such a way that builds the relationship like the original did, where they were more coy and shy and then they touch each other's hands and they look away and all that kind of stuff. That just wasn't here, which is a shame. Like, one of the things in the movie that the Beast does is that he finds out Belle loves books, so he goes way out of his way to make the library all like beautiful and prestige again in order to give it to her as a gift. It is a big gesture in the cartoon, but in the remake it's all like, oh, you like books? Okay, here's the library. No joke, that's how it's played off. He didn't even put any thought or feeling into it. It was just like, oh, there you go, have it. It just felt so crap. Like I said, the character design for most of the characters is pretty good, but personally I didn't like the newfound wardrobe look. It was really, really hard to tell where her face was when she was speaking until like a third of the way in the film. I'm like, oh, it's the curtains and the things are her eyes, whereas everybody else sort of had a face and had an idea of where everybody's mouth and eyes were. The piano and the wardrobe just didn't have that, and that kind of annoyed me, but that's just personal. Also, I hated the ending joke. No. I take that back. I didn't hate the ending joke. The ending joke is fine. I'm not going to say it on camera so you can watch it, but the joke itself was fine. It was the response to the joke that really pissed me off, and it just made no sense in the context of the whole movie. And I was like, that is a really shitty way to leave the movie on, because after that, the credits roll and everyone's, happy dappy, and it's like, damn it, that's how you're going to leave me? If you just left it before the joke, or if you had a better response, then I wouldn't have complained at all and I would have left with a smile on my face. Damn you, movie. Slight spoilers here as well. If you want to click the annotation, this is just for the very, very end of the film, but you should know it all by now anyway, because it's a movie that's like 20 years old. So, but some people are crazy. At the end of the film, Beast gets shot, saving Belle, and Gaston kills himself pretty much by standing on a ledge that's all rickety, and Beast dies. And this moment of the film was probably one of the best additions to this film, where in the original, after Beast dies, everyone's just all sad, and then like 5 seconds later he comes back to life. In this one, they drag that moment out for a lot longer. All of the characters that we've just come to grow and love actually turn into their inanimate objects, because that's what the curse in this movie states. It's not one of those ones where they just get stuck there permanently. No, they not only get stuck permanently as the objects, but they can never be human again. So Lumiere is just a candle for the rest of his life, and he has no thoughts or feelings or taste buds or anything. And you see every one of the main characters turn into their objects, and wow, for the film to drag that on and make it so sad, I thought it was great. And then it's undermined a little bit because the enchantress was hanging around the village the whole time. So she came up the stairs right near the end and she saw that Belle was indeed in love with the beast, and she's like, I love you, you know, after I've known you for 2 weeks, that's fine. And she is the one that reverses the spell. Whereas the original movie had just the love, and it was just right at the end of the spell's timer that it worked. The movie has the enchantress go, oh yeah, I heard that, so I'm going to save your life. She really didn't have to be there, and I don't know why she was there in the first place. It just was kind of shitty. They should have just had Belle saying, I love you, kiss him on his dead lips, and he heals from a gunshot wound, and everyone turns back to normal, and everyone's happy. But no, that's not how the movie ended, so... One of the other things I didn't like was the subplot with Maurice. So when he comes back from Beast Castle, he claims that, you know, the beast was there and everything. No one believes him, but Gaston, seeing an angle, he decides to help out Maurice in order to try and find Belle so he can marry her. That's fine. That's fine, and they go out into the woods, but they can't find the castle, so then Gaston leaves Maurice to die just to show off his more villainous side. Maurice nearly does die as well, and he gets saved by the enchantress, and then he comes back to the village like 5 days later, only to say like, look, Gaston is a monster, and he left me out to die. Gaston is surprisingly clever, and he twists the town onto Maurice, saying that, look, how can we trust him? He was claiming there was a beast here, and like, he's crazy. While that subplot story, you know, comes across as okay, in the movie, I didn't like it. It just sort of felt forced. Like, he comes to the town, he says that the beast is here, they say you're crazy, they kick him out of the town, he comes back a couple days later and says now Gaston is a beast, and he's still crazy. They didn't have to add that little subplot of Maurice going off and nearly dying. They could have just sent him out of the town, or like, you know, put him in jail like they do in the other movie. I think they just wanted to have a little bit more screen time with Kevin Kline, but honestly, I just didn't see the reason why. And it also took out my absolute favorite line of the film in order to do this plot. My favorite line of the original film is when Gaston is like, after the Gaston song, he's like, Maurice comes in and tells his story, and he's like, crazy old Maurice. Crazy old Maurice. And then he does the next best line of the film, which is, I'll tell you, LeFou, I've been thinking, a dangerous pastime, I know. I love it! That's my favorite 2 lines of the whole film, but they got cut for this subplot, and I was like, damn it, maybe that's why I'm more sour to the subplot than I need to be, but whatever. So overall, I will give this film a 9 out of 10. Yes, a 9 out of 10. There are still some flaws in this film, like I said, like some of the characters and stuff. But honestly, it's a solid film that was based upon another solid film, so all they had to do was just remake it exactly and it would have been an alright film. The additions that they made to the character depth are really, really good, but that in turn took away from some of the character interactions, which, you know, is kind of bad, which is, you know, it sort of evens itself out. And that's why I gave it a 9. Gaston is still my favorite villain, and this movie just highlights his more like darker side, which I thought was a great addition to the character to make him feel a little bit fresh and original. I'm also really fine with the Disney progression of making LeFou gay. Like, that was fun. Like, I think they should have gone a little bit more over the top, not like making more effeminate, but I think they should have pushed the fact that he was gay a little bit more in the film, just to make it more edgy. But whatever, what we got was fine. So far, out of all the Disney remakes from Cinderella and The Jungle Book, I think this is probably the best one, and I'm really, really looking forward to what they're going to do next. So guys, please tell me what you thought about the new Beauty and the Beast. I know that a lot of people had a huge amount of nostalgia when they went into this film. I know I did. And seeing a lot of the live action scenes like be just pretty much carbon copies of the cartoon made me smile. And then the additions to the story just made me smile as well. Like, I went into this film having a high expectation and it really hit there. But tell me what you guys thought as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye! Belle and Beast aren't the only people to get more, fuck, damn it, them doing as much, that was the sound I was gonna say. So out of all the Disney remakes so far, with Cinderella and The Jungle Book, I think this one is so far. How many times will I say so far in a sentence? I'll tell you, LeFou, I've been thinking, a dangerous pastime I know.